Hi, and welcome to Probe once again. We have been talking about abuse and domestic violence in God's cosmos. Often we find even believers indulge in domestic violence. They look like good people on the outside. Can we draw any boundaries in marriage? Maybe some of you had these questions and want to help somebody who is a victim of abuse. Well, this is your chance. Let's listen to Dr. Latha Christie as she talks to Dr. Nirmala Abraham about domestic violence, a deeper look.
Last week, we talked about abuse and domestic violence in the family. This week, let's take a closer look at domestic violence. The term domestic violence often brings to mind the concept of the battered wife, or perhaps a married couple's verbal argument escalating into physical assault. Domestic violence is about power and control. Though the term violence has physical connotations, domestic violence or abuse can occur in non-physical ways. For instance, abusers may manipulate their victims through emotional or economic means. Verbal abuse and sexual abuse are other forms. A person of any age, gender, and socio-economic class, education level, or religion can be impacted by domestic violence. Let's take a deeper look at it today. Welcome back to Probe, Dr. Christie. We have really been inspired by the last 10 episodes. This is episode number 11 and we are looking forward to this one. The Bible says in Ephesians 5:25, "Husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it." If that's the case, then there will be no domestic violence. But so often we find husbands don't follow this, and therefore there's a lot of violence at home and the wives are trapped there and they are even unable to escape. So tell us, what are some of the barriers to escaping from a relationship of violence?
Many of the violent abusers trap their victims by threatening them.
Yes.
They'll threaten them that if you go out of this place, that either I will take custody of your children or I will see to it that you will never be able to live or I'll kill you.
Yes.
Or even I can spoil your reputations. Like it's your character assassination. I can do anything. And even some of the abusers even threaten acid attack and so many other things. Many times these victims are scared to leave, and you know that's real. Many of the victims are killed while they escape. So it's a difficult phase, and the one side they get trapped because they are not knowing that they are in an abusive relationship. They deny being in abusive relationship. They just deny within them that every time things will improve, and adding to that insecurity. If for example if they are not working, where will they go afterwards? Who will take care of them? And many times parents don't understand and they don't support. So they once they are married, they are separate. They are not sure whether friends will take care or is there any other support system available for them.
Even if they are working, husbands may threaten that I will see that you are thrown out of your job.
Yes, many times many abusers they call and
the employers are called.
Yeah, these people are called their employers, their boss, and then they have told them much bad about them and they have threatened them how she will come to work, and they get scared to the extent that they will send her out of that job. And as I said, that they can spoil their certificate. And if this is the personal barrier, for example from their own side, there are many other societal barriers like the fear. That's the main thing, is fear, whether the abuser will become violent and lethal, and they can follow them, they can stalk them. That is one more fear, because the abuser would have already threatened, if you go out I would kill you. So when they go out, that fear will become embedded within them. So each and every step they go out of the abuser, they get more fear, more
they will always be looking behind the shoulders.
Even if someone just slightly taps them, I have seen many victims getting scared. Because it is their innate fear within them and knowledge of the difficulties of staying alone. And many times you are all the time with an abuser, will all the time keep you trapped. Either he will love you or he'll hit you. You are all the time with someone, but when you come out, you are alone. Loneliness is sometimes very cruel. Isolation, and already he would have isolated from friends, family, societies, everything. Now you don't have anyone, absolutely you are alone. And now who is there for you? The difficulty of framing another relationship, another friendship, trusting another person again is really difficult. And
That's
one more
true.
thing, the society looks down upon a divorcee. And that even a woman, for example, they think that it is her own fault. She has to be blamed.
Right.
Might be she has done something wrong, because the abuser always portrays outside that something is wrong in her. Even to the relatives, everybody, he portrays that it is her fault. The society also looks down upon her. When a victim tells a little,
Yes.
it's only the tip of an iceberg.
Right.
So it might be huge inside. She's just telling a little. But if you stop that also, might be you're not telling the truth, she'll never open up.
Yes.
Because she'll feel that she cannot confide in you. That too, many of the times we just use the wrong biblical interpretation and say
That's-
God wants you to stay. So they believe that they are trapped.
Yes.
Once married till your death, even if that other person is killing you, you be there. So these sort of societal pressures and pressure from children. Children also have to face the society. If their parents are divorced, they feel shame. So they say, okay, take some more.
Yes.
Take some more. Let me grow. Take some more till that time be there.
Right.
So these sort of pressures from every side that makes her escape a very difficult thing.
Correct. Isaiah 58:4. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife, and in striking each other with wicked fists. You can't fast on one day and do abuse on the next day, then expect your prayers to be heard. And sometimes even the so-called Christian believers indulge in this kind of thing. They show they are very, very holy by doing fasting and prayer on one day, and the next day they are abusing their wife. Why do they do that?
Actually, his aim is not abuse.
Then,
His aim is control.
yes.
Nobody gets married, nobody walks on the aisle to be abused or to abuse. He just looks at a girl and he thinks that the girl has to fulfill every desire of his. So he wants someone to praise him, to keep him as the prince charming. All the time she should be beautiful. All the time she should do everything.
Yes.
All the time she should be at the best, the perfect. So he objectifies.
So he expects
identifies.
his partner to be perfect 100% of the time, even though he may not be perfect himself, right?
He has an image in his mind which is perfect all the time. He longs in his mind to get a wife who never feels sad, never feels tired. All
Maybe
the
he has
time.
seen movies and videos of such things happening, and he thinks that that is going to happen 100%.
He might be thinking that he needs a personal caretaker who will take care of him in every way. So no woman can do that.
Right.
So when a woman fails, he feels that she has cheated him in his mind.
Okay.
So that is an abuser's personality. Because for him, abuse, as I said, abuse is not the real aim. His aim is to control and to get his things. Mainly, I would say selfishness and narcissism is at the base of everything. She has to be beautiful all the time for his needs, for his every needs. She has to cook for him. She has to be all the time good. And whatever in his mind he has this, she has to do. If she changes a little, he will go to that extent to bring her to that place.
Okay.
Abusive man is neither a monster nor a victim. Most abusers, if you see, they think that abusers hate women. But it's not that. You ask his friend, she will say that he's one of the best friend. You ask his sister, she will say that I have got a best brother. His mother will say, my son. Then why he abuses his wife? It's a complex behavior. It is like he expects something. The more positive attention he gets from his wife, the more he demands. They think that this partner is my possession. Like I have a land, I have a house,
I have a wife.
It's something like that. It's my possession, and that possession should never have any dreams on its own, should never have any thoughts on its own. It should be like a robo.
Yeah,
Whatever I need, that thing should do.
Yes.
And that's why he isolates her from everything else. And he objectifies. He's fully possessive monster. He's like,
Right.
he has that jealousy, that's extreme jealousy. He doesn't allow her to talk to anyone because he should not know other people how are they, and she should not escape.
Right.
So he stops every escape paths for her.
And nobody should come to her help.
He wants to keep her trapped in that situation where it's pleasing to him
Yes.
and gets his things done.
So she becomes like a dancing doll. that he can just switch on and she should dance. Something like that.
It is something indirectly.
You will just become a puppet on a string.
Yes.
You will have no control over yourself. You will have no voice, and that person can just control you all the time. But there are many myths and misconceptions about domestic violence and abuse. Could you enlighten us about some of those?
Domestic violence, people think that they are like village men.
Yes.
They are like men with tattoos and men with some big build.
Those who look evil.
Yeah. They never knew their next door neighbor can be
who
bad.
looks very handsome and kind and good.
Yes. That is the problem, because many businessmen, many doctors, many professionals, so they think that such people, they can never abuse a women. But actually, as I said, abuse is only for control. He wants to get his things done.
So he may not even be realizing that he is abusing.
Many times that also could be
He
there.
thinks he is disciplining or controlling.
He thinks that, yeah, he has got a puppet, he has got a child, and he can train her, and he can train her in his way, and finally one day he will become the object what he wants in her. Somebody hits the other person because he is having alcohol. But that is again a myth, because alcohol is different and abuse is different.
Yes.
Both, if you are treating, you have to treat both for alcohol separately and abuse separately.
Yes.
Both are problems. But it is not because of alcohol he is abusing. Alcohol also is a part of the problem. Stress in the office. He has got too much stress in the office. That's why he is trying to let his anger on his wife.
Yes.
That is another great myth. When he hits, he can tell that, okay, instead of putting the blame on his wife, he can put the blame on his office. That might be, I am stressed up in the office. That could be the reason I am abusing you. And one more thing is, an abusive person does not look such an angry person. He can look like a hurt little child. So after hitting her, he can become like so sad. You feel so sad to look at him. After hitting you, he expects you to feel pity because he's feeling sad. He takes up that position.
There are so many young girls who dream about Prince Charming after reading novels and after seeing films. She thinks that she's going to marry Prince Charming, who's going to sweep her away, give her a beautiful life. She goes only to fall into a trap where she is abused for life. I'm sure there must have been some warning signs while they were courting or meeting before marriage. But probably she just ignored them and never took them seriously. Could you give us some examples of warning signs even before you get married to somebody?
Many abusers give warning signs in that way. They look initially so attractive. They end up in quick whirlwind of romance. You just meet a woman today, and next day they'll fall in love and they say, without you I'll die off.
Yes.
That's the greatest warning sign. If someone comes and tells that I will die without you, that's the greatest warning sign.
Of course.
And then a quick
that means that person is going to expect the world from you, and you are not going to be able to meet his expectations, right?
That is the reason. And the next one is, suddenly you become a passionate lover. Love happens, but it happens at its own pace, right? But an abusive love, it takes within one day, it becomes the most passionate love you have ever seen. The next day itself, a person knows, have seen you today, and he has expressed his love, and next day he comes and tells, you're my world, without you I will die. It's a warning sign. When this happens, for him, she's like a queen, and she treats her like a queen, and she feels that I'm so happy, everything I need, I've got my Prince Charming, and she goes and tells the whole world, see, this person loves me. That is one more reason when he abuses her, it becomes difficult for her to go and tell the same people that this person who loved me, who did everything for me, is now doing this.
Right.
She can think that something is going wrong. Another thing is, a batterer sometimes will present himself as a misunderstood person, as a person on whom you feel pity for.
Right.
Might be he has been abused in his childhood, who he expresses it as a pity. So you feel sad, you feel pity on him. And then you feel attracted to him.
Okay.
Love should never be confused with pity. Many times batterer expresses like that. It's a malfunctioning part is there, and only you go and correct it, that will roar in its potential.
Yes.
So he will show to you that if you enter his life, all his malfunctioning will go off. and that engine will pick up only if you enter into his life.
There are also people who go to people for counseling, and they counsel and finally they fall in love. Maybe that's also used as a trap.
Anyhow, counseling we are taking up against same sex. Sometimes you should not do it, because when you feel sometimes sad for someone and you fall in trap, and sometimes that's a reason you express pity for them. So pity should never be confused with love.
Right.
And one more thing, you can see an abuser by disrespect. He has a lot of disrespect for everyone. So you can easily understand, if a person does not respect another person, and disrespect is in him, he has that abusive tendency.
And if he disrespects another person, tomorrow he can disrespect you also.
Yes. And then the one more thing is, if a person keeps on blaming others, he doesn't owns up any responsibility. He keeps blaming for everything it is happening to him. He blames this one, he blames this climate, he blames you, he blames that. Then again there is a great warning sign. And then the other one is a jealous character. If someone talks to you and he acts as though like, see, I want all of your time. Don't give anybody time. I want all of your time. You feel like you are hijacked. All your time is hijacked by someone.
You feel suffocated.
Yes, but that is a warning sign. Some of the ladies like it, because they
feel flattered.
Yes, that is the reason they fall for them. And such abusers think that without you, even 1 second, I cannot live with you. When they say someone like that, you feel trapped. These are some of the warning signs anybody should look into before getting married. Because you think all the time marriage is like walking on two hand in hand, and you all the time you have a love relationship, your Prince Charming is here, but the next minute after he gets you, he knows that you are his possession. He changes. And one more thing is, he intimidates. If somebody puts you down, things tells all the time that you are no good, or intimidate somebody else.
Yes.
That intimidation is a part of abusive behavior.
So if he can intimidate another woman, he can intimidate you as well.
Yes.
Right?
And then also, such an abuser will get attracted to power. He wants everybody to look to him with awe. Something all the time he expect his partner to tell you are great, you are good. So somebody wants you to all the time praise him, tell him that he is great and he is the Prince Charming, he is the greatest person. Then again you should be thinking that, is there something wrong in that person? And as I said, the quick whirlwind romance, getting into relationships so fast. Self-pity, like this, if you name it out, at least some 9 to 10 points are there to easily understand before you get married.
You mentioned alcoholism earlier. I would like you to tell us the relationship or the connection between alcoholism and domestic violence.
An abuser can abuse and make himself violent under the context of alcohol.
Okay.
So he can take alcohol as a excuse and abuse.
Okay.
So because now he can tell that he can put the blame on alcohol, but the thing is, alcoholism is different, and somebody can drink alcohol without abusing, and somebody can abuse without alcohol. So now a person who takes alcohol and also abuses has to be treated for these two separately. Abuse, he has to be sent for abuse intervention centers, and for alcohol he has to be treated for alcohol.
So if a person has a tendency for domestic violence, then it's better for him to avoid having alcohol, knowing that it is going to trigger something under the influence of alcohol. Maybe he should be careful, right?
Yes, right.
People who abuse their partners, they look like good men, and in front of others they are so good. Everybody, like you mentioned earlier, they are so good to their sisters and their parents and their brothers and their friends and their office and everywhere. It's almost like he's got a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of a split personality. They can be very, very different with people. In such cases, if the wife wants to leave her husband under very severe domestic violence, how can she face the society? Because nobody is going to believe her.
Yes, his gentle humanity looks to be hidden under the abusive behavior, and the society and the relatives might tell her that he's a very gentle man, and might be sometimes if you pray well, or if you can love him more, his abusive nature will change, and the same hand that hit you will love you.
You don't cause something.
Yeah, you don't trigger his abuse. Trigger him, they say, because he portrays outright he's a very gentle human. And this one is looking a mad person, and automatically because of this abuse she would have had that mad demeanor, and that's why she looks mad and he looks gentle. And when she faces society, it is very difficult, because he would have already done enough damage to her by telling, if you go out, I'll portray you as though you have done the mistake and you are after many men, and I'm going to do character assassination. And then this poor lady doesn't know what to do, because society is against her, her husband is against her, children is against her, there is no other support. It's only the Lord who can give her support. That's why I said every human being, his personal relationship with Lord should be so tight, and the Lord supports the lonely. The Lord supports the, as you said, that He never allows people to go.
Isaiah 54 is so beautifully.
Yes, Isaiah 54:5, your maker is your husband. So that's a very beautiful verse, because whomever doesn't have fatherless, he'll be the father, and for the husbandless, he will be the husband. He will provide every need. So there is no need to worry.
And God said, I will never leave you nor forsake you.
Yes.
Yes. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the ends of the earth. That's what God says, and He keeps up His word.
He has done again and again, again and again. Many abused women I have seen, it is only the Lord, she is safe. She could have, because so many times abusive men throw things at them. So many ladies have broken their bones. I have seen one of the lady next to my office, there is an abuse center. She is suffering from fits because her husband held her head, used to hit it against the wall.
Is it a good idea to have some boundaries in marriage so that you can help the husband to be more disciplined?
Actually, boundaries are very, very important. Boundaries are yes and no. These are the two words. It marks a limit to what is appropriate for you, what is not appropriate. It's a very in-depth subject. Boundaries are, because the rules are limits what you do for yourself. This much is okay. Beyond this, if you overtake, then I have to do something.
Yes. Thus far and no further.
Yes.
If not, I leave.
Why you don't lay your own boundaries, you become a doormat and allow others to walk over you because of those psychological defenses. And the other one is, you are all the time taught that you are a worthless person. That you are worthless, that's why he is abusing you. So now if you have to set a boundary, you should be able to overcome the feeling of worthlessness. So God has made you a very significant person, and He needs you to put a boundary for yourself, because the boundaries are out of love, not out of fear. And a healthy boundary defends you and it protects you. Healthy boundaries, I would say. For example, if you are in an aircraft, let us take, you will all the time hear that sound when the aircraft takes up. There is an oxygen mask. When the oxygen level goes down in the higher altitudes, the oxygen mask will automatically come down. First, you put it on your face and then
attend
help
to others.
Why they don't tell even first help a child? Because when the oxygen goes down, your brain capacity goes down and slowly you end up dying. So before your brain capacity goes down and you lose yourself, you first protect yourself. Then you will have the power to protect others. That's why every time self-love, Jesus said, love others as you love yourself. Don't allow others to overpower you, overtake you, or even walk over you. That is not biblical. But Jesus never gave that model. He said serve. He said help. But He never said you allow others to overpower you, become a doormat. He never said. Because He gave dignity. He gave self-respect. He allowed us freedom. That is the most important thing which a person loses in an abusive relationship.
Our time is up. We have to end this episode, but I would just like to mention one thing, that even though we have talked about abused women, I must say that 1 in 9 cases is always an abused man. A woman can also be an abuser, right?
Yes, many times it is happening.
So that again, the same rules apply.
No, but
the man also has to lay down boundaries for the woman.
The thing is, a man, it becomes more difficult, because you see outside all the time women will be looking as a soft person. All the time women, if you go and say somebody, a man, if I'm a man, I go and say my wife is abusing me, what man?
Nobody is going to believe.
Nobody will believe. And you're not wearing your pants. You first become a man, they will say. So they think that women means easily can be controlled. It is not that. An abusive woman is same like an abusive man.
Yes.
And so for an abusive man to go and tell outside that a woman is abusing him is more difficult. And for him to first of all understand, he would have seen a woman in this sort of roles, a soft, gentle person. And that same woman is coming in a very different way. First of all, he should understand that this also can happen. So the same manner, whatever we spoke for the woman applies for the men.
Yes, right. Thank you very much, Dr. Christie.
Yeah,
it was a very enlightening episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear friends, domestic violence is in stark opposition to God's plan for families. Genesis 1 and 2 depict marriage as one flesh-helping relationship. Ephesians 5:21 talks about mutual submission. Marriage relationship is an image of Christ and the church, serving others, not manipulating and controlling them. In Matthew 20:26-28, Jesus told his disciples, "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So let us serve one another."
That was a very profitable episode, a real good lesson on how we can help the victims of abuse. God expects us to be proactive and help people. We cannot ignore the fact that our friend or family member is being abused. Don't forget to write to us your doubts about domestic violence at writetoprobe@gmail.com. It's time for me to go now, but I will be back next week with another practical episode. Till then, be blessed. Do you know what symptoms to look for when you suspect that a person is being abused?
They put on a mask and they don't show their true pain that's going on.
She should be able to trust you.
Yes.
Because already she has lost her trust.
Yes. What about the part played by the family and friends? In what way can they be a great support to the abused victim?
She has got bruises on her body or cuts on her body. Take a picture of it and then document it.
God expects us to be willing to get involved with people who suffer in silence.
Time and time again, the abuser cannot stop an abuse on his own. Your wife has a separate mind on her own. She is not an object.
You got to